like growing up in South Africa?
Oh, just like growing up anywhere. I mean, at home for
What are
you.
the differences?
I don't know. Because I had a real hard time coming to this country when I was 16, because the boys are so rude. They don't open doors for you. They don't step aside for you. They just push in front of you. And,
even back then, huh?
and I remember coming home, when we came home and we were juniors in Seattle, coming home crying because some boys had knocked me down going through the, or when class is over, instead of, well, we had to sit until the teacher excused us. Then we could go out in orderly fashion. But when the bell rings in the States, the kids are up and out, whether the teacher's talking or not. And they knocked me down, and I was real upset. But as far as, I don't know, we didn't have much money, but my mother always made things work. She was the hostess with the mostest, I called her. Because whoever came in, be it African or missionary, she was always there to take them to the store, take them to the passport office, take them to get whatever they needed. And if the Africans came, she always mixed up a big pot of cornmeal mush and made some gravy, and they were happy. And that was at the time of apartheid, so people were used to having Africans in their homes. And I remember going with a missionary family to the zoo, and they had their African nanny. And she was about my age, and I remember putting my arm around her shoulder, and my mother came and said, "Don't you do that, you know, because she could get into trouble probably more than I could." Because they had to have green cards, and at 11 o'clock, the whistle blew, and every African had to be off the streets.
Wow.
So,
what did you call it? Something?
Apartheid.
Apartheid.
What is that?
That was when the whites ruled. The Africans were in their townships and living in barely nothing. And the government was making strides to help them build houses and schools and running water and such. And then America stepped in and said, "We want this done now, and we want apartheid over." And so that's what happened, and it caused a big stink for a long time. Because the Africans didn't know how to take care of anything, but the government was teaching them, and if they'd have just let South Africa do it on their own instead of demanding that it be done right away.
So what did Grandpa do?
Grandpa, there were mines. He went to mines, gold mines, coal mines, and mostly.
He prayed real loud.
Diamond mines.
Prayed
It's like
real
real
loud
bad.
for a long time sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But there were, in the mines, there was groups of men that worshiped together as a Free Methodist group. And he would go around to these different mines and take their offering for the month and give them new material and anyway, and that was part of it. And then he built churches in the townships, which was a place where the Africans had some homes. He built six or seven churches. He also sold Bibles and reading glasses and a lot of Christian literature written in the languages of several different tribes around there. And some of our missionaries that worked behind the scenes did the translating. Then it went to the publishing house and it got published, and then went out to get it in boxes. And he had a Volkswagen bus called a microbus, and he'd pile that thing full and just go around to the mines or the townships they saw that microbus coming and sign stop, and he just had flocks of people around him all the time. My mother was a treasurer, and she did a lot of the book work. And later, after we left Africa, she did. They did 15-minute radio programs for the Trans-World Radio, and so they put stuff around on the walls and the doors to kind of soundproof it for one room, so that you could tape the stuff, and she'd get singing from different places on a reel-to-reel tape recorder. And that's what they did all there, 40 years.
40 years.
They were there from 1948 to 1988. Then they came back, and my mother had breast cancer, and then my dad got colon cancer. But my mother lived to 90, and my dad died at 71.
Great.
71.
71. He died at 71 years old.
In 93. Yeah. What did you learn about marriage and raising kids from your parents? Or what important lessons did you learn from your parents?
Always do things together. My folks we always did things together. My mother my mom and dad never went places that she couldn't take us. That she didn't feel like she could take us to a place and be comfortable, because we were little wild Indians. And we didn't go. So I don't remember going out to eat a lot. My mother always cooked. But just like Dad and me, Mom and Dad, I never saw them argue. Never. I never saw them love each other. Because back then, you just didn't show your emotions. It was all, you just didn't show it in public. So that was kind of hard for me, because I'm not a very lovey person. And, but anyway, I don't know what you asked.
Dad?
Did I cover it?
Yeah.
My dad and I used to do a lot of fishing together. And we'd have talks, and I would remember a lot of things, but obviously I couldn't remember it all. But I remember him telling me, when you get ready to get married, make sure you find the right one, because you only have one chance in life at marriage, so don't mess it up. I can remember him. We went up, what's that creek? La Plata Canyon. And he said, I'm going to go out and catch you some supper. So here's one match. I want you to have a fire going.